Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. Oh man, these leftoids are so utterly predictable. Just the other day, I recorded a video about a massive parental rights protest that broke out in Los Angeles, and I was making a point about leftist hypocrisy in this particular domain. In that video, I reiterated a point that I've made quite often, how leftists have this totally extreme stance or talking point, and then when Republicans point and say, hey, that's freaking crazy, they always have the same defense. No, well, we didn't actually say that. No, we didn't mean that. Or no one's actually saying that. That's fake news. That's a boogeyman argument coming from the right. I mean, it's pretty much a meme at this point. Critical race theory isn't actually being taught. Yes, it is. Those books aren't actually in libraries. Yes, they are. No, we don't actually have an extreme view on abortion. No limitations. Abortion up till 9 months. No, definitely not. Yes, you do. That's exactly what the stance of the far left and even of the mainstream left seems to be these days. That is the exact verbatim stance. I'm telling you, people say that abortion is a losing issue for the right. I disagree. That's kind of the point of this video, I guess, in a way. Jen Psaki tweeted something today that was so incredibly inaccurate, so utterly ridiculous. We gotta tackle that tweet, and then look at the whole picture, make an argument. We got some stuff to get into, so let's roll the tape. Alright folks, so during the GOP debate, multiple candidates described the left as having a stance, in some cases, of supporting abortion up until the moment of birth, up until 9 months. Obviously, that's freaking crazy. And when GOP candidates say that, well, voters are listening and they're learning that, Democrats have completely lost the plot. This obviously hurts the Democrats, and so they go into full denial mode. Jen Psaki takes to Twitter. No one supports abortion up until birth. She tweets this because she's Jen Psaki, reliable source. Talking head at MSNBC, she's fact-checking those extreme Republicans on stage. Except she's full of you-know-what. Jen Psaki, you claim that no one supports abortion up until birth. Well then, why is Democrat New Mexico Governor Michelle Lujan Grisham confirming that that's the Democrat stance? Saying exactly that there are no limits.
So nail down for me then, how do you define, because up till now, my understanding is there wasn't a limit on when in a pregnancy, a woman could receive an abortion. Have you set any limit on
There are no limits. So for us...
That's very controversial.
It can be. I mean, look, it's the 1% of all abortions, and that's still a sizable number of abortions worldwide.
1% over 21 weeks of pregnancy.
Correct.
Why is it that Democrat Senator John Fetterman voiced the exact same stance during an interview on CNN?
Do you support any restrictions on abortion?
I don't. I've always believed...
Even in the third trimester?
I believe that choice is between a woman, her doctor, and a God if she prays to one.
Why is it that former Democrat Virginia Governor Ralph Northam, not even that long ago, I think this was in 2020 if I'm not mistaken, again promoted the exact same idea?
Here's what Virginia's governor did say.
The infant would be delivered, the infant would be kept comfortable, the infant would be resuscitated if that's what the mother and the family desired, and then a discussion would ensue between the physicians and the mothers.
He even pushed it further, suggested even after birth. Why is it, here's the best one, that Jen Psaki herself, in her role as White House press secretary, was pushing for support of a bill titled the Women's Health Protection Act, which would have literally legalized abortion in America up until the moment of birth.
He's announced his strong support for passage of the Women's Health Protection Act, urges Congress to pass it.
She is a liar. Republicans weren't lying on that stage. They were simply pointing out the extreme left, which, by the way, isn't just some fringe, cringe, extremist leftist element of the Democrat Party. I don't know if this data is accurate because a lot of things have changed over the last year or so, but at the time, as of May 26, 2022, 7 states had no limit on this particular medical procedure. Yeah, I don't know, that seems pretty extreme to me. Not to mention, when the bill that Jen Psaki was shilling in the video earlier was put on the floor in the Senate, 49 of 50 Senate Democrats voted to legalize this medical procedure nationwide until birth with effectively no limits. Every Republican voted against it. Democrats love to create this narrative as if Republicans are extreme on this issue, but that simply isn't the case. The Republican stance is actually in line with the majority of the world. Here's the legality of this medical procedure by country or territory. Most countries in the world have limits on the procedure. You are in the extreme minority if you are supporting this procedure on demand with no limits. And I think Jen Psaki Psaki's tweet shows that Democrats are starting to get a little bit spooked on this issue. You know, supposedly in the 2022 midterm election, it was a winning issue for them. And now, all of a sudden, after the debate last night, I think most people are realizing that Republicans aren't as bad as the Democrats fearmongered on said issue. You know, a lot of the responses during the debate, I think, were quite moderate, quite logical.
We need to stop demonizing this issue. This is talking about the fact that unelected justices didn't need to decide something this personal, because it's personal for every woman and man. Now it's been put in the hands of the people. That's great. When it comes to a federal ban, let's be honest with the American people and say it will take 60 Senate votes. It will take a majority of the House. So in order to do that, let's find consensus. Can't we all agree that we should ban late-term abortions? Can't we all agree that we should encourage adoptions? Can't we all agree that doctors and nurses who don't believe in abortion shouldn't have to perform them? Can't we all agree that contraception should be available? And can't we all agree that we are not going to put a woman in jail or give her the death penalty if she gets an abortion? Let's treat this like a respectful issue that it is, and humanize the situation and stop demonizing the situation.
At the end of the day, I think the Republican majority view is quite simple. Send it back to the states. States have the right to draft and pass their own legislation based on the values of their voters, of their constituents, and it pretty much ends there. Is there a more religious component within the GOP that seeks a federal ban? Sure. Mike Pence is one of them, Lindsey Graham is another, but most people know that that's simply not feasible. It'll pretty much never happen unless Republicans manage to win 60 seats in the Senate. And for the most part, the activism or the legal battle to end Roe v. Wade was based on a constitutional argument that the federal government cannot impose these types of regulations and laws on the states, that it's up to the states. And that was the exact logic of the Supreme Court ruling, and it would be quite hypocritical, I'd argue, for Republicans to then go back with a federal ban imposing conservative values federally on states like New York and California. I think Democrats are shaking in their boots because most people watched that debate and realized, hey, maybe they're not as extreme as we thought they were. You know, the MSNBCs of the world were characterizing the Republican Party, the GOP, as Christo-fascists, evangelical zealots coming after women's supposed reproductive rights, even though I don't think it's a right, but you know, you get it. But the reality is obviously more nuanced than that. There's a constitutional argument as well as an ethical one. And for the most part, the most popular view and most of the laws that are passing on a state level, even in Republican states, fall in line with voter sentiment based on the polling data. We've covered that extensively. A large majority of the American populace believes that there should be limitations after the first trimester, which is, I think, the first 13 weeks. Most laws in Republican states go from anywhere from 6 to 15 weeks, sometimes 20, 22 weeks. And in many Republican states, attempts to ban the medical procedure, the issue's been on the ballot, and in almost all cases, attempts to outright ban the procedure or implement highly restrictive limitations have actually failed. In other words, state-level democracy is working. You know, it's kind of a non-issue. In my view, it's a winning issue, because the only political party that has a deeply unpopular extreme view on said issue is the Democrat Party. And that's why Jen Psaki is trying to pretend as if, well, no, we don't actually have that view. Well, yes, you do. I proved it. You're a liar. And hopefully, people start to catch on. Anyways, that's what I got for you guys. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to leave a like and possibly subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.